All right, we are days away from these threatened tariffs coming at us from the US. And in the media, we're starting to see news headlines about the Liberal government kind of retaliating with tariffs and putting in place some kind of subsidy package for businesses and individuals who are harmed by the tariffs. More or less another bailout similar to COVID to help businesses and people, funded by taxpayer money that Canada doesn't have. So just more debt on debt. I strongly disagree with this strategy. I believe that the economy should function as it's designed, such that if the tariffs get put in place, the Canadian dollar will depreciate, which will actually offset the impact of the tariffs and allow Canadian products to be competitive still for US consumers because the Canadian dollar depreciates. Also keep in mind that a 25% tariff, if it is that large, on Canadian products probably won't even make our products uncompetitive, because if you think about where the Canadian dollar is, where it was relative to a few years ago, it's probably down 25%. So, when our Canadian dollar was 25% higher a few years ago, Canadian exporters were doing okay. They survived. So you could argue that if our products are made 25% more expensive to US consumers, that we should still survive, because they survived a few years ago. And I don't even think it will be that big, because I think the Canadian dollar will probably go down a little bit more if the tariffs come into place. How much more, I don't know. So I really argue that I think the politicians should get out of the way and let the economy function the way it's supposed to, with an open market, and everything will work itself out in due order. By retaliating, by placing tariffs on US imports, that is just penalizing Canadians. That is going to increase the cost of living for Canadians. Sure, it might indirectly hurt US manufacturers, but really the tax is on Canadians, because we're the ones that pay it. I really disagree with that. I think, if anything, the Canadian government, if they want to help out, should be trying to strike more trade deals with other countries, as well as investing in our infrastructure, our hospitals, our roads. That will generate jobs. But before we can do that, we need to get our finances in order, because right now we don't have the money to do that. So if we are going to do a subsidy of any kind, it should be doing CapEx investments that's going to help the economy long term, not these short-term handouts, subsidies that are just going to generate more inflation in Canada, similar to what happened in COVID, and are not going to make Canada stronger long term. That's my spiel. I think the Liberal government, if they're going to do what the media is talking about doing, is just going to be another massive mistake. It's going to generate inflation for Canadians, make our cost of living worse. Another huge failure by the Liberal government. Bye.